All right, good morning, and thanks for joining us for Southwest Coda's online marketing series. I'm MJ, and I'm one of the members of the Plata County Economic Recovery Task Force, and we are here to bring you this video series. This is the last week of this one, but there is talk of the SBDC and Visit Durango continuing it, so be sure to stay in touch with us about the next series of webinars. And from that, a couple housekeeping things. We'll be answering all the questions after the presentation, so feel free to type questions in the Q&A option on your toolbar below. And our presenter will do the best to answer all the questions, and then we'll also follow up with a recorded version of the webinar, which will also be archived on SECODA's website. So with that, I'd like to introduce their instructor for the day, Nathan Morris with Web Services Management. And so Nathan, thank you so much for taking the time today to share your knowledge. He's going to be covering e-commerce, which I know is a pretty hot topic for a lot of people. So Nathan, I will let you take it from here.
Thanks, MJ, and good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Nathan Morris. I'm an owner, partner in Web Services Management. We're a full suite turnkey web management company based here in Durango. And I think I'll give you a little bit of a background with SBDC is I've been consulting with SBDC for about 2 years, primarily on web-based or for businesses that need help, establishing a web presence. And yeah, I think what'll help me a little bit is if we can just give me some sense, and I realize this is a little hard to do over, over a virtual meeting like this, but I'd love to get a sense of everybody's need level in terms of, are you right at the beginning of your e-commerce journey? Or, have you already been through the simple stuff and you're looking for a much more advanced solution? Because we have limited time today, and I'd love to tailor what I'm, talking about towards your needs. So MJ, is there any way you can help facilitate that?
Yeah, sure. So Noah, I see you're on here. If you want to just write in the chat below, like what level of where you're at with e-commerce, that would be awesome. He says, I have an active but very small presence, want to know how to best to drive traffic and sales. I'm a very small maker business. So, and if anyone else wants to add on there, but I think we can start with that. Nathan.
Okay. That's good. Looks like there was a second one coming up, but no, I guess not. Okay. So let's see. And Noah, do you currently have a website with some e-commerce? Okay. What are you using for your platform currently? Oh, okay. You're pretty far along then. That's terrific. So are you looking more for, kind of the marketing and the SEO side of things as opposed to, just getting your products out there? Okay. And MJ, is Noah the only one on the call?
Yes, but we're going to archive all these. So a lot of people watch them later, which we're finding out. So just because 9 to 10 doesn't work for a lot of people's schedules. So I would say all of these have been kind of catered towards beginner to intermediate level and people that are looking to pivot their business right now. So I think just having it like an introduction to e-commerce and the basics, but also to be able to get them set up and running as much as possible, or to look towards, your services and furthering that partnership.
All right. Well, cool. I think that'll be a good place to start from then. Thanks for that. Mm-hmm. So let's see. Obviously, e-commerce is too big to talk about anything or talk about the whole thing of e-commerce. Can't go all the way down that rabbit hole. So the way I've kind of structured, my thoughts around today are for anybody doing e-commerce, you're going to need a few basic things. So I wanted to talk about the prep first. And some of this is, obvious, really, really obvious, right? But it's important, you got to cover it. So obviously for the first things when you're prepping, are you going to need items to sell, right? You can't there's no point in creating an e-commerce platform if you don't have something to sell. But clarity is really what matters. And this goes for you too, Noah, and I'm sure you've discovered this a little bit, but knowing exactly what you're selling is really important. And along that way, you really need to know who your target market is, who you're selling to. And, for the clients that we have who work in e-commerce, we work a lot with them ahead of time in an Excel spreadsheet or just a Word document, something where they can, before we start dumping products into an e-commerce system, which is kind of the expensive, tedious part, we like to gain that clarity in an Excel spreadsheet. So what is the item's name? What are you going to sell it for? Who's your target market? Who's going to want to be buying this? Additionally, photos. Photos are huge, and I'll go into that a little bit on some of the examples I've got up. High quality photos make a ton of difference. And, some of my clients really spend the money and the time to create high quality photos, and it does translate into sales. So photos matter. Your descriptions matter a ton. And Noah, for you, thinking about the SEO and the marketing, your descriptions are really going to be where you generate a lot of value, and it's probably where you can make a lot of progress. Because at the end of the day, search engines, like Google Spiders and Microsoft Bing, they're looking primarily at the text. And so where you place that text, how often you place certain keywords, that matters. And then some back end, housekeeping items that anybody's going to need in order to start selling online, at least professionally. You're going to need a tax ID, EIN from the US government. You're going to need a bank account because hopefully we're making lots of sales and you need somewhere for that money to go. And then, you don't have to have a website to sell online. There are a number of third-party, online locations like Etsy, like Amazon, like Facebook, where you can sell without a website. Websites can help, but it depends on what you're selling, how many you're selling, and how you're reaching your customers. And then if you have a lot of products, you're going to want to spend some time, again, at the Excel spreadsheet level, categorizing your products, because the more you can do ahead of time, the easier it is to get those products into your e-commerce system. Once you get to the point of actually making things live. So that's the prep, and prep matters, and it pays off later in a big way. So once you've done your prep, your costs obviously are going to matter. You need to choose a system. It's you can spend a lot of time and a lot of money chasing or building an e-commerce system, but if you don't really understand the difference between those systems, then you might get pretty far down the road and decide, oh wait, this actually doesn't work particularly well for me. And you wind up having to backtrack, recreate the same things in a different system. So having some sort of understanding of the types of e-commerce systems that are out there, and then what they cost, is another little important piece of research to do before you get going, or even once you're down the road a little bit. If you're wondering if things could be better, wondering why things aren't working, it might be the platform you're on. And I'm not going to go into this too much, but just wanted to point out a few things on this list. And I bounced around a little bit. I was putting this together in a hurry, but there's two in the middle, Facebook and PayPal. Those don't really cost you anything up front to get going. Facebook, though, they do take 5% of every sale you make. PayPal as long as you have the basic level, they don't charge you anything, but they take, almost 3% plus a 30% transaction fee per sale. With both of those, again, you can get going for free. You don't have to have a website. Anyway, so those are just really like an entry-level way to get going with e-commerce. Now the top and the bottom one, those are set up more, in the case where you actually have a website, you're wanting to do e-commerce on your website. Now I chose Weebly there at the very top because you can actually get going for free on Weebly, and certainly I could get going, set up the test site on Weebly for $0. Now, if you want to get serious, I wouldn't recommend the $0 free level from Weebly. And you can, depending on the amount of traffic you think you're going to need to handle, the number of transactions, and the number of features you're going to need, you can wind up paying, like the top level there is $72 a month. And I list Weebly here not because it's the only one I'd recommend. I use Squarespace a lot and I like it. I think they've done a nice job. I think Wix is fine. I think Dudot and Webflow are both nice systems. And all those systems for a small entrepreneur, I actually think they provide a lot of value. My little company, we manage mostly WordPress websites all day long. And when somebody comes to us and they say, hey, we want you to do everything, WordPress is a great option. And WordPress, for us, we can just make it sing. We can do anything we want with it. It's like an old, Ford engine from the 70s or 80s. It might not be the best design thing out of the box, but we can get in there and, pull the carburetor out and really just make it do anything. But WordPress and WooCommerce, they take a lot of management. And for a small entrepreneur, I think it's not a particularly good value to go the WordPress, WooCommerce route. I think most entrepreneurs and small business owners get a better value from Weebly, Squarespace, Wix, Webflow, those kinds of companies, because you get an all-in-one system. It's really well managed, and you get, most of the time, you get 24/7 support, where you're not going to get that from your local web designer. I'm going to go on vacation and I'm not going to answer the phone at 1 a.m, but Weebly does, because that's what they're paid to do. Now, where the benefit comes in, again, like I was mentioning, is Weebly, Squarespace, Wix, they have their box, and it's really hard to break out of their box. Their box does quite a bit, but if you really need something outside of what they already offer, there's just no options with them. You're going to wind up hitting these walls with them. And that's where you want to look at a custom designed website. I like WordPress these days better than just about any other content management system. And the plugin of choice these days is called WooCommerce, and it's a plugin for WordPress. Like I said, it is, it'll wind up costing you more at the end of the day. But if you really need some deep power, the WordPress WooCommerce platform is really good. And a whole other group of companies I should mention along with Weebly are the e-commerce specific companies like Shopify, who now they're a whole other level up in cost. You can easily get up to paying $200, $250 a month for something like Shopify, but they have a really robust system. And again, you do get the benefits of 24/7 support and a system that is dedicated to e-commerce. That's all they do. They live and breathe it all day long, and they're quite good at it. All right, and since we're recording this, I'm not going to go into this too much. Just a few places to get started for folks. If you're interested in any of those systems, you can get started here with some of these resources. So having said that, Noah, you get lots of attention because you're on the phone. So let's see. And Noah, do you currently sell on Facebook? All right, cool. So this will be something new for you. Facebook, they have this marketplace. It is fine. And it's meant for a mass audience. You're not going to Facebook because it's a boutique selling experience, but Facebook has volume. You get reach with Facebook, and Facebook has made it really easy to sell your products. And we can just walk through real quick the process of selling something. There we go. You click item for sale, price. Okay. So I make hot sauce in my spare time, and it's my retirement plan one of these days. So we're going to use that as a little example. Now it is a premium hot sauce. And let's see what they've got in here. Oh yeah, so Facebook doesn't really give you a food option, food and beverage options. So I'm just all right. Oh shoot, sorry about this. Little technical glitch here. Let me try this again. Okay, we're not having love today. However, so let's see. You can see what's supposed to happen there. Wanted to bring up two things. So I took these in about 30 seconds yesterday, and I took them very intentionally because I wanted to talk a little bit about the photos. As you can see here, so I just took this shot of a bottle of my hot sauce, and I just did, again, like 5 seconds of staging. So this is not, professional, but there's nothing embarrassing for me here. Put up a nice cutting board behind it and my counter and just the bottle of hot sauce. Now, by comparison, I went over, got some dishes out of the sink, and took a photo there. Now, this might seem a little obvious, but you see photos like this all the time. Where people are just they're not looking at the background, they're not looking at the colors, not looking at what's going to make their product look terrific. And so anyway, just a note there about photos. And it doesn't matter what platform you're on, whether it's something quick and easy like Facebook, or whether you're putting your photos up on, a high-end e-commerce site, they matter. At the end of the day, a lot of people that's their only visceral experience with your product is those photos. So the more professional your photos can look, the more inviting your photos can look, it will translate into sales. So anyway, our photos aren't uploading here, not sure why. Oh, all right. It's gonna make us. All right. So here you can pick, where your product's going to go. I also subscribe to the Durango, Colorado online garage sale. So if I wanted to put it in both places, I could. Now, the one thing I dislike about the Facebook Marketplace is, your products, and let's say you only sell new products, they go in with kind of everything else on the Facebook Marketplace. I don't love that. I wish they had more of a new only, like a full retailer's marketplace. But so be it. Again, with Facebook, you're looking for volume and reach as opposed to kind of a boutique experience for your buyers. And again, I bring up Facebook not because it's the only simple kind of third-party marketplace, but just because I find it the easiest. I've sold stuff on Amazon and Facebook and Etsy and lots of other places. And Facebook has done a really good job of just making it super easy to sell your products. You obviously will need to do your own market research, figure out, well, is this really the right market for my product? I think Etsy is a terrific marketplace. Etsy is a lot cheaper for you to sell than Amazon, for example. And I think Etsy attracts a certain marketplace, a certain buyer that Amazon doesn't. But yeah, so that is the kind of situation where you're just wanting to get your products out there without actually building a full website. Now, so I'll jump to the other end of the spectrum. Let's see. All right, so this is Weebly, or this is a Weebly website that I put together a couple days ago. Again, it's just made a really quick hot sauce site for me. Similar picture, and this took me all of about an hour. Certainly, if I were doing this for real, I would want to find relevant images, work on my text a little bit more. But the point is, you can actually get going with a site like Weebly in pretty short order. They will verify things like your home address, your bank account, your EIN number for your business. And Weebly is interesting. They actually verified that my EIN matched the address on file at the IRS or whatever system they're using to check that registry listing. So they do a fair bit of back end work before they allow you to get going. So you definitely want to make sure you're ready to go and have your ducks in a row. Let's see. So let's see. This is what it looks like after you've published it. But I want to create a new item. Here we go. So let's say I've got 2 flavors of my hot sauce. Add another item. So let's say I've got an extra premium hot sauce. Now, again, no, this is where you're going to want to, spend a little time. And for anyone who hasn't ever delved into the world of SEO before, I'll break it down like this. SEO is a black art, meaning it's a process and it's not an event. And SEO is it can be very expensive. But it is all based on text. So that means, Google or Bing, they're going to be combing through your site. There's no magic to it per se. But it is all about the text that's on your page. And if you want a few general rules of thumb, I would say, you want to be repetitive without being redundant. meaning you don't want to just say, best hot sauce, best hot sauce, best hot sauce, but you do want an SEO keyword up here in the item title. And then you want to repeat that same keyword, this is the best hot sauce, in the description and in the pictures and everywhere else you can on that page. Because while Google will punish you for being redundant and just repeating the same phrase, over and over again, like this, Google will reward you for using that same phrase in multiple places on the page. Because at the end of the day, what Google wants to do is reward you for authenticity. And so, they know that, hey, if you're willing to use the same phrase in multiple places on, the same page and on multiple pages across your website, they know that's what you're really selling. What they want to punish people for essentially is inauthenticity, a bait and switch. They don't want you to pretend you're selling, the world's best hot sauce, and then you wind up selling, I don't know, cat sweaters or whatever. So again, the more you can repeat your keywords, the better off you're going to be. And again, that's the page title, it's titles here, it's your description, as well as most web design systems will allow you to tweak the descriptions that your images have. And this is nothing that people can read, but it's something that Google's search engine spiders can read. So I highly recommend spending some time getting your photo descriptions to match everything else. Now, the big question, or the next logical question is, well, how do I find those keyword phrases that let me reach my audience? This also is it's kind of a black art. And the important thing to understand, though, is that you have to meet your users where they are. Most of us, it's just human nature. When we start selling our product, we essentially describe our product and, we use our catchy marketing phrases. And at the end of the day, and again, this is nothing that anybody should, be abashed over, but we're selfish creatures and we essentially wind up talking about ourselves. And then what we hope is that people out there, the Google search engine, wind up searching for, using keywords to search for us. But that's just not how the world works. Our buyers out there, they don't care about us, right? Our buyers care about themselves. Our buyers want their pain point solved. And so you need some tools and you need some understanding of what your buyers are actually searching for. And literally when your buyer goes to this search engine, mostly it's Google. Oops, trying to do too many things at once. People are going here to Google and they're typing in this search phrase based on their pain point and their need, and they're looking for somebody to solve their problem. So we have to meet our clients in the middle and say, okay, this is what I'm selling. I'm selling the best hot sauce. But somebody might actually be searching for the best, or the amazing food condiment. And I have no idea if these are actually, what people are searching for. But my point is that, they might be searching for something that's kind of related. But if you don't match up with the exact phrases that people are searching for, you're going to have a really hard time reaching that audience. And again, it's just text at the end of the day and matching up with what users are typing in. So how do we find that? Well, there are lots of tools out there to use. Now, I personally use this tool called KW Finder. This is a paid tool, and it's probably, a bit much for a lot of business owners, but at the same time, for a business that you're really trying to launch off the ground, um, you can just subscribe to this for 1 month, and let's see what the price is per month. $50. You pay the price 1 month, cancel it at the end of the month, but you do your research um, during that month, and you figure out what keywords you actually need to use. So if we go here, for example, let's say I'm selling hot sauce. This is the past month, and and these numbers actually come from Google. So we can see that for the hot sauce, there's been 100,000 searches, and they round these, of course. And this is worldwide searches in any language, people looking for hot sauce. And sorry, this is the last week, not the last month. But you can see these other variations on hot sauces. Now it's interesting, look, there's hottest hot sauce in the world. There are these searches which are obviously related to hot sauce. But if that's your niche, that's really valuable information that, hey, this is where, this is the total number of people searching for those types of hot sauces. They don't just want hot sauce, they want the hottest hot sauce. That's a big deal for them. If we were to dig down into these too, you'd find some regional variations. Some people look for hot chili sauce. Some people look for hottest chili sauce. But that word chili, for some people, that denotes hot sauce. Other people, they don't care about the word chili. But again, this all boils down to just the words people are using. Now the choice is then, okay, which of these keywords do I want to chase? Well, sure. So hot sauce has the most searches, most people searching for it, typing it into the search engine. But if you look over here at if you were to buy, for example, a Google ad, and trying to attract those hot sauce customers, this is the price you'd be paying for every one of those people who clicks on your ad. And for a $5 bottle of hot sauce, that's pretty expensive. Whereas, the hottest hot sauce, that's a lot cheaper. Hot sauce brands, that's a lot cheaper. Now, this is not to say that this is what it's going to cost you to put these keywords on your webpage. What this tells you is the level of competition you have. And the more expensive it is, the more competition you have. And so, if you really think you have a hot sauce that can compete with Pace Pecani sauce or Tabasco brand pecani sauce, then yeah, you can chase these very generic terms like hot sauce. Most of us don't, certainly not starting out. We don't have the capabilities to really compete with, the big name sauces. They can compete at this level. Most small business owners can't. So this is part of that black art of deciding, like, okay, what am I really selling? How specific can I get? And yes, that's going to reduce the number of searches searching for my product. But because the competition might be so much lower, it might actually translate into more sales for me. Now, there's a great example down here. And these are the kind of sweet spots you want to look for. So look at this, just this search term chili sauce. 75,000 searches, but yet the cost per click, and again, this is just kind of a relative gauge, is really cheap, right? 17 cents versus 45 cents. So about a third of the price, yet you still have a tremendous volume of searches. This is the second most searched for phrase, all over all these other ones except for the term hot sauce itself. So if I were doing SEO for my hot sauce brand, I'd go back to my product here. And Now, this is not great copyright here. I'd never actually write something like this. My point is, from an SEO perspective, just including that there, all of a sudden that makes me competitive in a whole other realm of organic search terms. So if somebody types in chili sauce, the chances of me popping up all of a sudden are at least there. Now, again, you match that in with, your repetitive use of that keyword across your site. And additionally, location matters on your site. When Google's spiders come and crawl your website, they try and mimic a human as much as possible. So they'll start in the upper left corner up here, and they'll go from left to right, just like the human eye does. So whatever is up here in the left-hand corner, including your URL up here, it matters, and it's cumulative, it all matters. But the higher on the page you can have your SEO terms, and the further to the left you can have your SEO terms, it all matters. It's all cumulative to bump your products and your site, your store up in the listings. What else? Those are the big things. So I think this would be a good point to stop talking and actually listen to you guys and answer any questions you might have.
All right, if anyone has any questions, thank you, Nathan. Really appreciate that. If you guys have any questions, pop it down in the Q&A. And also I'll be including Nathan's email and a follow-up email of the recorded version of this. So if they have any questions for you directly, Nathan, I'm sure they can reach out to you that way.
Okay.
We'll wait here for a little bit, see if anyone has any questions.
You bet. One other just kind of word of advice I would pass along is, e-commerce can be very tedious. E-commerce is a lot harder than just building a website. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help or hire some professional help. Having said that, most small business owners, they're pretty good at doing a lot of this, right? It's not rocket science to go register for a site with Weebly or whoever. Get 90% down the road, and then just, if you're trying to save money, reach out for those little questions where you're stuck. If you get stuck, don't belabor it. Don't beat your head against a wall. It's tedious, and a lot of times it's so much more cost effective to get as far as you can, stop, go on to the next task, and then reach out for help. And the SBDC is really helpful for small business owners. Contact Hannah and say, hey, I'm stuck on these 4 little things. But then that way, when you meet with somebody like me, it's a really productive session, because you can be like, okay, I tried doing this, I got stuck here. How do I get past this point? Okay, and then this other area over here, I got stuck here. How do I get past that? Anyway, that's just a very efficient use of your time and your money. So just a little word of advice. And if you get frustrated, you're not alone. Everybody gets frustrated. It's tedious.
Awesome.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Nathan. Really appreciate it. And we'll share the recording of this so that other people can learn from it. But much appreciated.
You bet. Thanks, MJ.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.